What is going on? I'm casing it down. Yeah.
Hey, we get the role play going on. I was doing the first half of the presentation back and forth. Okay, cool. Yeah, I would like to bring up.
Yep. Which one I agree? There's an Edgar. Edgar Brown? Who's Edgar Brown?
Hey, how's it going? Good. Hey, you got it. You want me to do something for it? All right. Yeah, go for it. Do what? Got it. Okay, we want to hop on? I don't know. We could have, I can go over to you. Yeah. I'll break out and talk to you. Yeah, it's set up. Yeah. Yo, right. Stay set. Or no, this week one, yeah, week one, day 5. Stay by, right? Stay by. Cool. Oh, you were on mute. Stay by. Yeah. You're on mute now. Sorry, I'm like, what are you saying, dude?
Honey bar, sorry, he's in the U-Haul on his way back from Pittsburgh,
Okay.
so. Technical difficulty.
Oh, so you said it's Tommy? You want it?
We'll give it another second before we get everybody started here. All right, if you guys have your cameras, if you could turn the camera on in Pittsburgh, if anybody's in that room, I am mobile. If you guys can get your cameras on, we're gonna get started here in a second. All right, guys, I'm driving. My camera's on, so if you guys can put your cameras on, we can get started here. It's probably not the best. I don't got a nice suit on today. I probably don't got the best training class attire, but I am wearing my American Income T-shirt. Our motto is Thrive. I got my Thrive T-shirt on today. So I'm driving from Pittsburgh to Chicago right now. If anybody's ever made this trip, then you kind of know what I'm going through. Good thing is we got good weather. So
yeah, I came from Maryland. That drive is pretty long.
You guys hear me all right on this thing?
Yep.
Yeah? me get a quick thumbs up if you guys could hear me. Okay, good. All right. I'm getting a ticket. Keeping it moving. So we're going to review the week today. Talk about what we're going to get ready for next week. So reviewing this past week, we went over understanding the opportunity on Monday. Tuesday, we went over the activity that's needed to realize the opportunity. You should have went over how many phone calls it's going to take to get a talk to, and how many people you have to talk to get your schedule booked. How many phone calls per hour you can make. I could even go over some of that stuff again today if you have questions on that. So let's stop on day 1, day 2. If you have your notes out there, does anybody have any questions from just day 1 and day 2 stuff? Anything that we went over on day 1, which was pretty much the numbers behind the career. We went over all that. And then Tuesday, we probably went over some more numbers, and Casey probably touched on, the activity for the phones, referrals, the importance of referrals. So if you got any questions on those, I'll cover that. Just review your notes a little bit. Have your notes out. We're going to go into Wednesday then. What did we go over on Wednesday? We got into the presentation on Wednesday in training class. So you should have got into the presentation, should have basically learned the beginning portions of the presentation, rapport building, up until like the first video, sort of. Because on Thursday was a big day loaded of no-cost benefit training. So yesterday you should have went over all the no-cost benefits, right? How to go over the AD&D certificate, how to go over the Child Safe Kit, how to go over the will kit, family information, got all that stuff. So on those 2 days, the presentation days, from the beginning of the presentation all the way through all those no-cost benefits, you guys have any questions on that stuff? You might have to unmute it, obviously, if you do. But if you got some questions, you can get them answered now. I'm sure that somebody else has them. But if you got your notes there and there's something that's unclear, you want me to just go over again, or like to hear it from somebody else, I'd be happy to do so. It's very windy. Very windy. I don't know if you can hear that. It's crazy. No questions on nothing. You guys got it all down pat, huh?
Hey Tommy, I got
so.
a quick question.
Okay, Rachel. Yeah, there we go.
Can you just go over again exactly how many people they can sponsor for each no-cost benefit and how to go about that?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's really no limit, So what we do is we'll say certain things like for the child safety kit, now Joe, Mary, this is where they're asking. This is where the police and firefighters are asking for you to do your part in protecting the community. And they're not asking for any monetary donations, but they are asking for us to do our part by sponsoring at least 10 other families to receive their child safety kits as well. So most people get started with their cell phone. If you start from the A's, we can scroll through, and that way we don't miss anybody, and we'll make sure the most important people, we get their kits out to them first. So Joe, who would be the first person that we need to get these kits out to? Oh, all right, your sister? Okay, great. 1 down, 9 left. Who's next? All right, great. 2 down, 8 left. All right. Just keep on getting their names. You do a countdown with them. So you could drop things like at least in there for that. for the AIL Plus card, I'll say to them something like, you know what, Joe and Mary, I almost forgot. This AIL Plus card on the open market, it would typically go for $300 to $500. Right now, they're allowing the members to take advantage of it at no cost. So what they want to do is they want to try and get more local providers and expand the program more. And they want to make sure they can keep it at no cost. So the way it works is like union buying power. The more people that use the card, the more discounts that we're going to be able to make available, and the more providers will join the program as well. So to help encourage the usage of this card right now, they're actually allowing you to sponsor up to 5 family members or friends to take advantage of the same AIL Plus card, except they don't have to be, in the union or paying the union dues, and they'll still get all the same benefits that apply with the card. So, Joe, who'd be the first person we need to get this card out to? So sometimes on the card, I tell them they'll allow you to sponsor up to 5. That makes it more exclusive. Now in Chicago and Illinois, we're allowed to give out $2,000 of accidental death benefit to people's family, like friends and anybody they sponsor. So you can also, tell them right now, as a nice benefit, we can give away today, essentially, $20,000. How'd that feel? That feel pretty good? You can give away $20,000 right now. What they'll allow you to do is they'll allow you to sponsor 10 friends and family members to receive this $2,000 accidental death and dismemberment benefit. So who'd be the first person we want to get these over to? And then you could even tell the wife you could actually give $40,000. You could give 20, and you could give 20. You guys give $40,000 away right now, and it ain't even Christmas. So you can have some fun with them with that. So those are some things you could do with that. And then the biggest thing you're going to learn, hopefully you learn it sooner rather than later, is contingent beneficiaries. So whenever you fill an application out, first of all, you got to know at the end of this presentation, guys, they're going to sell you, or there's going to be a sale made at the end of this presentation, just so you know. Someone's getting sold something. Either you're going to sell them on why they need it and why they can afford it and why they need to make a decision right now, or they're going to sell you on why they don't need it, on why they can't afford it, and why they cannot make a decision now. So just so you know, like you think I say there ain't no sales being, even when you think I didn't get any sales today, there were sales being made. You just didn't make the sales. They sold you. Well, part of our sales process is we fill out the application, guys. We fill out the application. But they didn't buy yet. I don't care. Assume the sale and fill it out. So at the end of the presentation, we're going to assume the sale and we're going to fill out an application with this client. Okay? And until they tell me they don't want it and stop and they don't need it, we're going to assume they're buying. Whereas everybody that I met with earlier today and earlier this week and last month, they all enrolled into the benefits. And I have a whole bunch of people that are waiting to enroll into the benefits as we speak. So guess what I assume that they're going to do? I assume they're just going to enroll into the benefits too. That's what everybody's doing. They don't all enroll at the same level, but they're going to enroll into the benefits at some level, like everybody does. That's the assumption you have to make. That's just the way you got to be thinking. Obviously, I could be 0 for 10. The last 10 people could have told me no, but I'm going to go into this one like they all told me yes, and then I'm going to a bunch of people that are waiting to tell me yes there. So when we fill out the application, guys, fill it out very thoroughly, okay? And this is your whole paycheck right here. You fill this thing out right, you're going to get paid right. If you don't fill out the application right, you won't get paid right. Jelly stuff. So anyways, at the end of the app, part of the app, you're going to go like this. You're going to say, so Joe, when you pass away, who would you like to name as your beneficiary? Basically, who would you like all this money to go to whenever you pass away? He'll say, oh, probably my wife. After you do that, then you're going to say, okay, let's just say, you have to say, who would be your secondary beneficiary? God forbid, if Mary wasn't around, who would you want the money to go to then? Basically, if Mary passed away first. You say, my son. Okay, perfect. All right, now, Joe, if something happens to you, your wife, Mary, is going to need to file the claim. She's going to be the beneficiary. If Mary's not around, then we know Joe Jr. is going to be the beneficiary. But what they need us to do now is they need us to list a third and a fourth beneficiary. Basically, Joe, last year, over $1 billion went unclaimed in life insurance. What that means, sorry, I'm like talking right into the phone because it's so windy in here that I wouldn't be able to hear what I'm saying. So that's why I'm holding it like this, if you're wondering. I'll try and keep it so it's like not right in my face. But so Joe, you're gonna say, so Joe and Mary, last year, over $1 billion went unclaimed in life insurance. What that means is that people had life insurance and they passed away and nobody claimed on the money. Now, Joe, what do you think would be one of the main reasons why nobody claimed on that life insurance money? And they'll usually say, because they didn't know it existed. And I'll say, exactly. Because nobody knew they had it. So what they need us to do is they need us to make sure that we list a third and a fourth beneficiary for you as well. Joe, who would be your third beneficiary? Who would be your fourth? And you get their name and information and you write it down. Then you tell them after this is key, guys. You got to get the third and fourth. But now, their third and fourth is usually going to be like their brother, their sister, somebody close to them. So then you tell them, you say, okay, now we need to give them a call and let them know that you listed them as your beneficiary. And make sure that they're okay with it. So let's give your brother, Johnny, a call. You listed Johnny as your beneficiary. So we have to give him a call. Let's give him a quick call and just let him know. So we call them right there. And I'll say, hey, Johnny, I'm meeting with your brother Joe and his wife Mary here. And they actually, I'm actually their benefit rep through his, local organization, whatever it was, the Steelworkers. And part of the benefits that they have is they actually have life insurance benefits. And we had to give you a call because Joe listed you as one of the beneficiaries on his life insurance. So we needed to give you a call today. Number one, to let you know and give you a heads up, and let you know that God forbid if something were to happen to Joe, you may need to be the one to file a claim on the money. So we needed to give you a call today to make sure that you are okay with accepting that responsibility. So is that okay? Would you be able to accept that responsibility of being his beneficiary on his life insurance? Okay, great. Now, Johnny, if you do accept this responsibility, my job is to sit down with you and your wife and go over the claim forms that they have for him. So you have all the claim forms if something were to happen. And also, as an added benefit, your brother and your sister-in-law, Mary, were able to take advantage of today. So for a limited time, they will be available to you, and I will be able to go over them and answer any questions that you may have. So I have a really busy schedule catching up with all the members, but I do have availability tonight. I can catch up with you after I wrap up between 8 and 10. I could say I have some time between 8 and 10, or I can catch up with you guys tomorrow. I have availability between 4 and 5. What time will work best for you and your wife, John? Okay, great. Tomorrow between 4 and 5. What time you get home? Oh, good, good. I hear a dog in the background. That'll give you enough time to get home, take the dog for a walk, and then I'll be able to meet with you guys right at 4 o'clock. That sounds great. Okay, perfect. Here, do me a favor. Write this down. Here's some important information for tomorrow. Boom. So now you have an appointment with so that his brother can get the money if his other brother passes away. You think he's going to show up for that appointment? You think he's going to listen to what you got to say? It's a good appointment. They're all ears. They're all ears. Right? So you do that, because here's what happens, guys. It takes about 15 phone calls to talk to somebody. Okay? It takes 2 talk-tos to set somebody. So you have to talk to 2 people to set one person. So that means it takes how many calls to set somebody? 30. How long does it take to make 30 phone calls? Typically about 1 hour. You can knock out 30 phone calls in an hour. You can bang 30 phone calls out in an hour, okay? So you know that it's going to take you about an hour to get an appointment set if you're just calling through your leads. But if you call a referral, it took you 5 minutes. And it's a way better lead than a lead. So that's why I always took the extra time to get referrals and call referrals and run referrals, because time is money. And I didn't want to waste time having to call the leads, even though they need called. You got to call the leads. These people still need seen. They still need the coverage, you know. But it's just a numbers game, guys. So it's important to know the numbers going in, and then you don't get that upset. Let's say you call for 3 hours, you only get 3 appointments booked. You can't be that upset, because that's typically what you would get. You can't sit down with 10 people and get 3 sales and be upset that you didn't sell 7 of them. That's typically what you would get. But if you don't know it, you're getting told no twice as much as you're getting told yes. You can get pretty upset pretty quick, guys. So remember, this business is different. That's why we do it. If you want the same old, go at it. There's tons of it all over there. It's ubiquitous. It's everywhere. You can get the same old anytime you want. That's what the 95% of people are doing right now. This is the different stuff. This is the 5%. It's 5% of the world, the 5% of America. The top 5% people do different stuff. So, you know, we get paid differently. We get paid weekly. We get paid bonuses. We get commissions. We get release money. We get back end money. We get renewals. You know, like 9 months from now, you'll start getting part of your commissions that you don't get now, and then 13 months from now, you get renewals, and then it builds like a snowball, and then your clientele builds, and And then all of a sudden you're getting phone calls from people saying, hey, my sister told me to give you a call. She said you do life insurance. That's because you didn't quit and you stayed in the game. You know, and 5 years from now, you got a team built. You have your leadership, and you have more responsibility, more duties. So, but we get told no, guys. That's part of our job. We got to be able to handle the rejection. They're just not saying no to you, though. It's not like they don't like you. They're just saying no to your proposition at that time. So his book, Stop Complaining, or something like that. I don't know what the name of the book is. I can't remember what it is right now. But it's something like pretty blunt like that, right? And he goes like this, you know what customer service is? Customer service is just listening to clients complain. That's all you do. You just listen to clients complain and just tell them they're right. You know what sales is? Sales is going like this. Hey, you want to buy off me? And when they tell you no, you know what you do? You ask them again. That's all sales is. That's the same person again. When that person tells you they don't want to buy off you again, you ask them again. And he says, if you ask them like 3 or 4 or 5 times, okay, you know what you do after they tell you no 5 times? You go ask somebody else. Just go ask somebody else if they want to buy off you. If they say no, ask them again. If they say no, ask them again. If they tell you no about 5 times, go ask somebody. Welcome to sales. I never forget he told us that. And it made a lot of sense to me. You got to be persistent. We work different hours. Guys. There's no clock in, there's no clock out. You get out of it what you put into it. You're technically your own boss at the end of the day. So if you never ran your own business, if you never did sales before, if you never earned commissions, if you never got, if you're not used to rejection, then yeah, this is definitely something new, But the good news is, it's not like you didn't know it coming in, and we've all been there before, and we're all going through it together. And we're okay. Nobody's dying over here. I'm good. I like how Gio said that the master has failed more than the beginner has even tried. So you think you got told no? I got told no more than anybody. You think I'd be all beat up? You think I have a black eye or something from getting beat up in the business? But no. The more you get beat up in the business, actually, the better looking you get. So anyways, those are some things on referrals. Hope that, answered your question with about 17 different tangents attached to it.
Yeah, thank you.
I think, if I haven't gone over some statistics with you guys, 2 key statistics that they told us was, number one, which I just kind of lucked out. When I graduated college, I became a financial advisor, and the first thing I did is I got licensed and everything. I got a life insurance policy for myself. I got a $250,000 variable universal life policy. I was 21 years old. It cost me $168 a month. Who in their right mind at 21 years old would spend $168 a month on life insurance? You guys know anybody that would do that? Think about anybody 21 that, said, yeah, that's what I want to do. So that's what I did. Because I learned a lot. And I learned this. I learned that the older that I get, the more expensive it's going to get. So that's not good. I got to get it as soon as I can. But also, the older you get, your health happens. So, you don't want to be in a position where you need it, you can't get it. But then I also realized that one day I'm probably gonna have a family, and I'm gonna need life insurance. And I don't want to wait until I have a family and all kind of bills. This is like what I was thinking when I'm 21. I'm like, I'm gonna have all kind of bills, and then I'm gonna have to try and go get life insurance. That's gonna be hard to fit into my budget. I bet you the budget's gonna be crazy, and I don't want to have to try and get life insurance on top of that. So what if I get it now? If I get it now, I'll just get used to paying it now. That way, when my bills get bigger, because do you guys on this call, do you think you're going to have more or less bills in your future, in your financial future? Hopefully, all of us on this call are planning on to have a lot more bills and a lot more cash flow and a lot more stuff going on. Hopefully, you're not here to like slow down or like creep up into a little ball. We're here to grow and expand and take off. We're not here to land right now, guys. You're going to have more business expenses. You're going to be paying cell phone bills for your mom. You're going to be taking care of your grandma. You're going to have cats and dogs and rental properties and all kind of bills going on. And it's going to be a great thing to have, great problems to have, right? So I knew I was going to have that. I didn't want to have to add another bill on top. I wanted to already be used to that one. So that was my philosophy. So I locked in at that at 21. Well, sure enough, 21, I got to meet with a 45-year-old. This 45-year-old has a wife and kids. He's the main income for their household. Guess how much life insurance he has? None. He has a mortgage. If he passes away tomorrow, his family's going to have to pay for a funeral. His family's going to have to pay for a mortgage. I don't know how they're going to be able to live in that house. They're not going to have no income coming in. So I find out, I sit down with the guy, I'm like, all right, hey, you need to get this life insurance, man. Look at this. He's like, yeah, you're right. It's like, I just can't do it right now. I'm like sitting there thinking to myself this. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm 21. I don't have a wife. I don't have a kid. I don't have no reason to even have this. And I have $250,000. I pay $168 a month. You're a husband. You're 45. You got a wife, kids, and you need this more than I need it. And I'm only telling you to get $100 for $100 a month. I pay $168 for $250. You can't even set aside $100 a month for $100,000. So I know you feel like you need to think about it, but we thought about it long enough, buddy. You're 45. We're getting this today. That's not what I said to him. What I did say to him in a roundabout way, because I have a chip on my shoulder, because my belief is through the roof, because I own the stuff myself, you know? And then everybody in my family owns it. So if you own the product yourself, your belief level is there, you know? You're looking someone in their eyeballs and you can say, I myself. That credibility alone, if you think you're saving money by not spending $80 a month on life insurance from American Income, do you know how much money that's costing you in sales? You would make that money back in your first day of every month. Your first sale of every month you make, and you would lose sales by not having it. They found that the people who have American Income themselves make twice as many sales as people who do not. As soon as they told me that, I was like, well, that's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. So if you don't got it, get it over the weekend. I'd recommend you don't got to do it. That's just if I were you, that's what I would do. When I was you, that's what I did do. And I know for a fact it works. And what the heck? kill two birds with one stone. You need life insurance anyways. Why don't you use it to your advantage and make some money and have it pay for itself? At least your life insurance gets paid. The plumber, he has to pay for life insurance, but he has to use his hard-earned money. Your life insurance pays for itself. Lucky you. You get to get life insurance for your family and it gets to pay for itself. I'd get as much of it as you can. While you can. Hey, you guys know the quote about life insurance? It says, get as much as you can while you can. You know what they say about life insurance? You know what they say about a gun? They say it's better to have it, not need it, than to need it and not have it. You know what they say about a fire extinguisher? It's better to need it and not have it or it's better to have one and not need it than to need one and not have it. Think about that. And you know what they say about life insurance? Same thing. It's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. Except for a gun, you may never need that. Hopefully you don't. I don't want to ever use that. Fire extinguisher. Hopefully you never use that. I don't want to ever have to use my fire extinguisher, but I got it. Life insurance, unfortunately, we might not never need a gun, hopefully never need a fire extinguisher. There's only two guarantees in life, death and taxes, man. One thing we're going to need that life insurance. We are going to pass away one day. So, anyways, what was I going over with you guys before I went over that? I gave you that quote. What the heck? I lost. What were we just going over, guys? Give me a rundown. What we're just going over. Remind me. See if you're paying attention too.
You were talking about how many calls you need to make to set appointments, how many appointments you need.
Yeah, but what else? What else? After that, I was going over something.
Start talking about the referrals.
Yeah, after the referrals.
You're saying that you should have the product that you're selling.
Oh, yes. This is the advice I was trying to give you. Thank you very much. Yes. There's two of them. That's number one. Okay. Just the 2 bits of statistics they gave me. If you own the product, you make over twice as many sales as people that don't. So that's a stat. The other stat was that if you bring someone into the company, you have 600% more success than the other person. 6 times. You're 600% more successful than someone that does not bring somebody in. So those 2 things alone will help you be a lot more successful, and it don't require any skills, guys. You know, so I try and do the stuff that don't require skills to help me. Like the other day we researched what color is the best color to wear for sales. And they said blue, like a baby blue, light blue color. Typically the best color to wear for sales. Well, that don't require any skills to put on a baby blue shirt. So guess what color my shirt I always wear when I go in the field when I make sales? I try and make sure I'm wearing baby blue. So there's things you can do that don't require any skill sets at all that can get you higher increases of success in the business. Showing up early. No, that don't require any skills. You know, there's just a lot of stuff. Taking notes, man. I guess taking notes is a skill. You got to be good at it. Some people are better taking notes than others. What they say, you know, note takers are money makers. So I heard that. I was like, well, I better be a good note taker then. If you're an average note taker, you'll be an average money maker. So I want to be a top-notch note taker so I could be a top-notch money maker. So you know, success leaves clues, and if you look around, you put it all together, that's how you can have success. But you got to do it all. You got to do it all. You can't just do, hey, I was a great note taker. How come I'm not a good, I'm not successful? Because that's only one part of the puzzle. You still got to dress nice. You know, you got to be on time. You still got to know the script. You got to have a good personality. You got to smile. People got to buy you. Remember, guys, they're going to buy you, man. You got to be ready to sell yourself. You got to be selling positivity, confidence. That's what people buy, guys. People buy confidence. People pay for confidence. That's what they're buying. They buy you and they buy confidence. Add them two things together, they buy a confident you. Honestly, I remember when I was a financial advisor, one of the older financial advisors told me, I said, Tommy, you know what these people were buying, right? I'm like, what? He's like, they're buying confidence. That's what they pay for. They want to be confident that when they go to bed at night, that they're taken care of. And now that they have to be confident in you, Rachel, they say, I can sleep good at night. I got Rachel. That's what you guys want. So you can build that up, you know, when you sell yourself and building confidence in yourself and your presentation. And a lot of that comes through repetition and doing it. Like, why am I confident that I can make a free throw if I go to play basketball right now? Because I made one before. If you've never made a free throw and I told you to go out and shoot that basketball, you'd be like, I'm not too confident I can do this. You'd be really nervous. So repetition builds confidence. So I apologize that I'm on a phone right now and I'm not in person and I'm not dressed in a suit and tie. This is my moving gear. So we're moving stuff. This is my driving a U-Haul outfit, okay, for us today. But I hope this was helpful for you guys. It's the same stuff that I'd say if I was there in person or not. There's probably a little bit more background noise, a little bit more echo than we really want on this thing. I usually try and have a nice microphone where it's clear, you know, with a nice camera and everything. So, any questions on some of that stuff? On anything at all besides that we didn't even go over that you're just wondering about?
I got one more question here.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
I got one more question for you.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
Can you go over a little bit of the process once the presentation is over, like what you have to do to get the stuff mailed out to them? Any kind of like, you know, just checking up on them after the presentation.
Yes, great call. So one great thing about the business is that we do not have tons of stuff after the client meeting. When I was a financial advisor, we had to meet with people 3 or 4 times before we even got a sale. And then after we met with them, we had so much follow-up paperwork, compliance. I had to write a letter stating everything that went on in the meeting, and it was crazy. So, so here it's actually nice because you don't have, like, I had to meet with my clients twice a year. You know, here you don't have to meet with them anymore. You enroll them into benefits, and whatever they pay per month is what they pay per month, and whatever the benefit amount is what they get. So it's like pretty straightforward, cut and dry, black and white. You pay $70 a month, and when you pass away, your family gets $120,000 or whatever the number is. So we don't really have to meet with them that often, or really, much after we're done. So that's good as far as that goes. But every month you get paid the residual income forever and ever and ever. But immediately after the sale, there's a couple things you do when you're wrapping up in the sale. You want to make sure you solidify. So basically, you take a minute or two and just look them in their eyeballs and explain to them, this is not a short-term solution. This is a long-term fix for you guys. This is your life insurance, and is there any reason why you can't afford this? Let's change it now. Let's get you, and there's a couple lines that you use when you do that. So you solidify with them. You explain to the client that even though we're setting this application up today, there's a possibility that it could get declined for the life insurance. There's also, we hope that it does get approved, but it also can get approved and they could have what's called an adjustment rating, where they can adjust the program where you can still get the coverage, but it may cost you a little bit more. Okay. So you have to explain to them all that in the house, so there's no surprises. In the house, you review with them multiple times, or on the Zoom call, you review with them multiple times the date that they're going to have their money drafted, the bank account that they're having drafted account from, making sure that $120 a month is comfortable to be taken out, to be handled electronically through their banking system on the 10th of every month. Notice the verbiage, guys, is you always want to say handled electronically through your banking system. You never want to say, oh yeah, they'll take it out once a month from you, or they'll draft your account once a month. People don't like to have money taken out, or their account drafted, or ACH'd, or whatever else you want to call it. So I tell them they'll handle it once a month electronically for you, right through your banking system. It's nice because you get to pick the day of the month and everything. I build it up like it's a great thing. Oh, it's great. They just, what they do? They actually just take care of it once a month for you, electronically, right through your banking system. So you don't got to worry about nothing. And then you get to pick whatever day you'd like it handled. You say handled. But that's just a side note. So now after you wrap up in the home, you leave them with a folder, your business card, okay? Preparing them that they might get a phone call. Don't say that they will, but, they usually give a phone call. I say you might get a phone call from our home office. They usually follow up with our policy holders to make sure that everything went well here today for you. So you prepare them for that. Afterwards now, you upload that application. It's on your computer. You upload that to the agency like mainframe. We check that application. Your manager will check your application for you. You should have checked it multiple times before you even upload it. If you upload that clean and it gets sent in clean, which means there's no mistakes on it, the client usually gets a nice clean policy and it comes in good. If you upload that application and it's missing information, now you're going to get hit with underwriters trying to process this application, but it's missing information. So you're going to have to call the client, get more information from the client, get them to sign more papers, and bother the client and stuff, look disorganized, and all kind of stuff. So that's why we check the applications, and then the agency has its own internal staff. And our staff checks all these applications as well to make sure that the agency isn't sending up bad business to home office. Once all the apps are checked, we send them to home office. Home office then begins underwriting them. Now keep in mind, you're going to get paid on that business immediately. Why? Because home office assumes that we do good business. So they advance us and they pay us 65% of our commission all up front and bonus. So now what we need to do is we need to make sure that that application gets issued to the client. What do you need to do that? Well, the answer is typically nothing. If you filled out a good application, the underwriter should just approve that application and get that policy issued to that policyholder. But if the underwriters can't process it because they're missing doctor's information or they're missing medications or they're missing whatever they need, they're going to come to you and you got to get that process. So you got to be on the lookout for underwriting bulletins, guys. The underwriters will post stuff on a bulletin that you have to be on the lookout for. You have to look at this bulletin almost daily to see if any of your policies are on there. And if they are, we got to get that handled immediately. Then the underwriters will begin to will be able to continue to do the underwriting. You know, they couldn't do it because they was missing that information. So now they'll be able to do it because you got them the information. Okay, great. Now, so that's what you got to look out for with the policy, okay? If the policy gets approved, it'll go right to the policy holder. The policy could get approved and have a modification to it. Now, you have to get the applicant to understand and agree to that modification. For example, the underwriters approved the application, but they approved it as a tobacco user because you signed them up as non-tobacco and the oral came back tobacco. So you have to get them to sign off on tobacco user rates now. So it came back as a policy modification. So you got to look out for that stuff too. Once the policy gets issued to the client, you're good to go. Now they just pay monthly and you're good. Okay. After you leave that person's house, you leave the house, or you finish with an appointment today, you need to mail them their folder if it's virtual. If it's an in-home presentation, you don't need to worry about mailing them anything because you should leave them a folder in the home. But if it's a virtual, you're going to mail it to them. That needs to be mailed ASAP, as soon as possible. By roll, 2 to 3 business days has to be in the mail. I would just do tomorrow. Put it in the mail and get it in there tomorrow. Okay? Can't tell somebody I'm going to mail you something and don't mail it to them, especially if you just got them to agree to pay you $100 a month for the rest of their lives. Think about it. You're like, oh yeah, hey, I know that you just met me an hour ago, but if you give me $100 a month, when you die, I'll give your family $200,000. Trust me, man. I know you'll be dead. You won't even be here, but trust me, I'll give you $100,000, $200,000. I mean, you got to think about this. That's really what you're saying to them. Like, yeah, I met you an hour ago. When you die, I'll give your family $100,000. Just give me $100 a month. No problem, man. Right? Okay, they did. You sold them. That's amazing. But then you tell them you're going to send them a folder and you don't. 3 days go by. If you tell me you're mailing me something in the mail, I'm looking for it. People look forward to that shit. They order stuff on Amazon. They can't wait for it to arrive. They just signed up for $100 a month. They can't wait for their folder to come. So you got to get that folder out to them. Okay? That's a good question that you asked there. I'm glad you asked that so I can harp on that and go over that and just repeat it. Make sure that if you tell somebody you're going to do something, you do it. In this instance, if you say you're going to mail them a folder after they just signed up for a life insurance policy with you, definitely mail them that folder. And I would do it the same day if I could. What if you sent it to them today, they got it tomorrow? Like, wait, didn't I just meet with them yesterday? How'd they get that to me today so fast? This company's on point. If I die, I bet you they do that with the money. That's good. But if I die, if you take 2 weeks to get it to them, they're like, man, if I die, it's going to take them forever to get the money to my family. So it builds more confidence as well. Now, you also must mail them a thank you card. Absolute must. If you're in sales and you sell anything, I don't care if you go and just sell pet rocks. If somebody buys a rock off you, you got to send them a thank you card. It's such a lost art. It'll set you apart from everybody else. When's the last time you bought something and they sent you a thank you card? Probably few and far between. So you will remember that for sure. Now, also what you do is you take a picture of the client, with the client when you're in the home. So normally I would get with them and take like a selfie, you know. If it's on Zoom, you take a Zoom selfie, unfortunately, but they work. Then you print the picture out and you send it to them in the thank you card with 3 business cards. If you're in the home, you should have business card magnets, and I always put them up on the client's refrigerator before I leave. If you didn't get a chance to do that, mail them a business card magnet. If you have them made, they're easy. You should get a business card magnet, and you mail it to them, and then you mail them a picture, and you tell them to stick that picture up on the fridge with the business card magnet. If your picture is on their refrigerator with the business card magnet, they will not forget about you. How many times do people go to the refrigerator on a daily basis? So, and they'll never cancel for sure. But you say, if God forbid anything were to happen, you call 911, you call me. That's serious talk right there, guys. If something happens, you are literally the second person that goes through their mind that they need to call. So don't take that for granted. Yeah, that's all the after sale stuff. The 2 main things are the folder and the thank you card, though. Those are the 2 main things that you got to do immediately. You have to have a 24-hour role in business, guys. See, you know, business is about 2 things, okay? It's about accessibility and reliability. And those need to be your 2 best abilities. Your 2 best abilities need to be your accessibility and your reliability. If you are not accessible in business, you're not going to be very successful. If your clients can't access you, probably not going to do very well. If your managers and your leadership team cannot get a hold of you, and it's like you're not accessible and it's like hard to get a phone call back, you're going to be moving through business at the speed of a snail. I want you to know, we move quick over here, guys. We move quick. We move with alacrity. You call me, I get it done for you. But you know the problem when you work with a business like that is guess what we expect? I expect the same thing from you. I just want you to know I expect $6,000 a week in production out of myself if I go into the field. Guess what I expect out of everybody who's on my team? The same thing. The expectations are high. So you know that. Coming into this agency, the expectations are high. I hope you have high expectations of us. I hope you have high expectations of yourself. Because I have high expectations for my damn self. And I expect high expectations of anybody that I surround myself with. And if you need something from us, we get it done. If you call me or my management team, we will get back to you within 24 hours. We have a 24-hour rule over here. You can't even get into management and leadership unless you truly understand and live by that. So if a client calls me, I got 24 hours to get back to them. If an agent or one of my managers calls me and needs something, I got 24 hours to get back to them. That's how I've always been. So I am reliable and I am accessible. Number one, can I get it to you? And number two, when I can get to you, can I rely you're going to get the job done? Brody Evanson last year, he got over $300,000 in quarterly bonuses paid to him. More money than anybody in the company. Brody was one of my agents when he started. I was an MGA, he was an agent. And I trained him. He became a supervisor, a manager. He became an MGA. And he's literally one of the top RGAs in the company. And I'll tell you that he was one of the most accessible and reliable people I've ever met. Literally, every time I call him, he answers his phone. Like, I don't even know how he does it. Like, every time, he's like 100 for 100. And then whenever I need something, he gets it done. Gets the job done. No problem, boss. No problem. Here's the epitome, guys. The best story I could ever tell you is one of my MGAs. I was a number one RGA in the company, so I had a bunch of MGAs. One of my MGAs that I developed, I brought him in from scratch. I recruited him, brought him into Huntington, West Virginia, and we opened an office down there. So his name's Tommy Connor. He's getting married in Aruba. So we get all the way to the airport for our like 7 a.m. flight. We're there, it's like 6 a.m. or whatever. We're there early. My wife realizes she forgot her passport. So I'm like, who can I call at 5 o'clock in the morning that would answer the phone and be able to get us the passport in time? So Brody actually lived in my neighborhood. I call him on a prayer. 5 o'clock in the morning. He answers the phone. And he also has a Maserati. So I'm like, this is perfect. I'm like, get in your Maserati, fly over to my house, get the passports, and fly to the airport, and we might make it in time. And sure enough, my dude was able to get us on flight and everything, you know. But that's just the epitome of, had nothing to do with business, but that's just the epitome of being accessible and reliable. And that's why he was also captain of his football team. That's why he's captain of our office. And that's why he crushed it and rose to the top in leadership. So, you know, as a side note, some good things to just keep in mind, guys. Just keep in mind. And then the faster that you move, like imagine I'm like, hey, let's get this report done, or you know, start implementing this into your weekly routine, and it takes you a month or two to do that. And then everything that I tell you to do, it takes you a month or two to implement. Do you know how long we're going to be here in business, guys? Could you imagine how slow the business would move? Right? Dude, imagine a sales company that took 3 months to like process somebody's order, like versus a sales company that can process them daily. Think about people who can get stuff done fast. Literally, you'll be 2 months from now, you finally implemented what I told you to do. I'm already a year ahead. You guys know what I mean? So what we got to do in business, man, is we got to be fast to implement. We got to move with alacrity. We have to be coachable. And there's 3 things I'll end on, guys: attitude, coachability, and work ethic. Effort. Attitude, coachability, and effort. These are 3 things that require no skill set. They require no formal training. You don't have to get a degree. And these make the biggest difference. The biggest difference. Attitude. If you win every day with a positive attitude, your outlook determines your outcome. If you have a positive attitude, every day you have to win. Here's how you win. You get an A on the test for the day in attitude if you have the best attitude and nobody has a better attitude than you. And here's how you know is when things are going well, you have a good attitude. Well, congratulations. When things are going well, everybody has a good attitude. Having a good attitude is not as important when things are going well. Having a good attitude is more important when things are not going well. That's when having a good attitude comes to play. We're getting pulled over, man. I'm getting pulled over, so I gotta get out of here. I'm gonna just maybe get off this exit here. Should I get off this exit? I'll pull over right here. Hey, I'm gonna go. You guys have a great day, and see if I can talk my way out of this one. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Be safe.
Hello. Yeah. Is it in there, Dad?
Where you guys headed to?
We are heading to Chicago.
Chicago?
Yeah.
Where you guys coming from?
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh? All right.
Yeah.
What's on Chicago?
I live there.
You live there? Okay.
I'm moving.
You're moving? Okay. All right. You know why I stopped you?
No.
You know how fast you're going? How'd you pace in my mid-80s?
Yeah, I was trying to pass up that
Okay.
car in the passing
You
lane.
said you head to Chicago?
Yeah.
All right. Why'd you get off this exit then?
Because you were pulling me over.
Okay. All right. Just I'll check just to make sure, right? All right. You said this is rental coverage. You guys rent this?
Rented it yesterday morning.
Yesterday? Okay. All right. So, give me 1 second, okay?
Yep.
Young kid.
Yeah.
I fell asleep.
You fucked me mid-80s.
I had this wave thing going. I fell asleep for a while there. I was out of it. I felt the heat in here or what?
You ate too much food, maybe.
I had half that sandwich, not even a whole one.
I'm gonna bust my balls because it's expired. I'm gonna bust my balls because it's expired.
Did you give me your license?
Yeah.
I wonder where my passport is.
have my passport. Pretty sure I. Oh, it's right here. Get your license renewed. Yeah, I'll tell them I moved to Chicago and then they shut everything down. I couldn't go. What do they wanted me to do?